Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Alpha X Pro Replay cast. Today, we are diving in once again to the TSL Season 6 Grand Final event. Coming to you live from the upper bracket. Let's introduce our players. Spawning up here in the top position, he is Parting. And his opponent down here for Team NV, he is MARU. So a PVT to start things off tonight. This has been an incredible tournament series, and there is just no way we could get away with not showing you guys these amazing events once again. I think the big thing about these were just some incredible games over the span of long weeks. It was just really fun tournament to watch, and I mean, just so many good players came out and gave it their all. So there is no way in heck we could miss them again. So to start things off here, MARU already going to be mixing things up, skipping the first Reaper, just going to get that first scout off with the SCV, just trying to stay safe versus Parting, who does have some cheeky shenanigans up his sleeve. He's known for being a aggressive player. He has a good macro, but that's not what it's all about. MARU, on the other hand, is one of those players who's kind of been mixing it up over his career. Recently, he has started to go a little bit more of a late game player, in the sense that he does kind of just try and kind of just stay back, maybe go out, do a little bit of damage, but his big goal is getting to that late game and just beating you with that slow, methodical push forward. And we'll have to see if he can get that done today. Now, yeah, already, you know, he is not building a factory anywhere, so that is kind of interesting. He's just sticking on making Marines. He's got the third CC as well, so he is just trying to play this economically once again. Once a Terran player starts to get up to 2-3 bases, that's kind of when he starts turning into this big production house, and that's when he can really just keep that long-term pressure going, these very aggressive pushes. That's kind of the power timing of Terran. Now, on the other side of things, we do have Twilight Council. We'll have to see how many additional gates he's going to be throwing down off the back of this, or if he even wants to stay super crazy with it. And indeed, it is Dark Shrine. So, a little bit of an issue with Dark Shrine in this situation, because with that third CC, he is going to have plenty of energy to scan for any sort of those kind of plays. And even now, he's even getting that engineering bay, so he is pretty safe versus this, all things considered. I'm actually a little bit worried for Parting here in this game. Yeah, MARU pretty much knows what's up. He's played Parting enough times to know that this is a map where he just loves to go for that Dark Shrine. Just throwing down those missile turrets, so smart. And honestly, behind this, Parting can still get maybe 1-2 SCVs, maybe, if he kind of trickles in the Dark Templar. But at the same time, he does need to kind of start that transition out of this, not really expend too much on this attack. And even look at that, MARU just gets a very brief glimpse of the Warp Prism. We'll have to see if he actually did see it, but he is playing it very defensive right now. Warp Prism gets in, gets a couple of Marines, but will have to back on out of their scan going down. So, relatively good defense so far. Even just going to throw down that additional missile turret just to make sure that this isn't going to be too crazy for him here. And yeah, that Warp Prism range is really just enough to keep these DTs alive for the meantime. 2 workers going down, but one of those was actually across the map. DT's kind of just trying to hang out in that position, but they were spotted, I believe. There's good missile turret coverage. So now, again, Parting is going up to that 3rd CC, or the 3rd Nexus. He's got the additional gateways coming down and charge off the back of this. So one of the big things that he can do with this is he can start to kind of transition to that Archon Zealot strategy, which can be pretty powerful. Although, again, the big problem is not just that he survived the Dark Templar, but he is pumping out tons of Marauders at this time. So that is going to soak up a lot of that Archon fire. As you can kind of see, the Marauder doesn't take as much damage as you would expect. So those Archons not really going to be useful, just juggled around by themselves. He's going to get a little bit of damage done there. Gets the scan off. One DT did get taken out. He does have stim, so he can get on top of this Warp Prism if he wanted to. Parting just, again, being a little bit of a nuisance, trying to get any additional damage that he can while he powers up back at home. Second Colossus on the way. He's got Lance coming on in. And yeah, from here, you really just need to make sure that you do have a buffer for a lot of these units, because the Colossus are only very good when you do have that little bit of a Zealot buffer in the front to keep the bio off of it. Now, he has kind of stabilized because MARU hasn't really gotten a lot of damage done in the meantime, but that might change as Parting's entire army is out of position and Blink not even done, so he's just going to have to slow walk his way back. Gonna try and slow down the Colossus production, but there is another pylon back there, so now he will have to pick up and get out. But now a second double prong attack going to be coming in. Unfortunately, I think the Warpin will be enough to kind of clean this up. Did Medevac survive? They did indeed. So MARU will be able to go back in there with that small force and just utilize them much more effectively. Looks like he's still kind of dancing around on the map again. But yeah, the question is, how committed is he going to be with this army that's just kind of sitting there at the moment? Keep in mind, there is not that much splash or AoE with this either, so it is just pure bio. Back at home, we don't even really see that much splash, only just now going to get some additional Widow Mines. And yeah, that's going to kind of be the signal for Parting to try and go in and attack. I hope he has a Warpin back at home. Otherwise, he is going to be in a world of trouble. Looks like he's just going to bring his army together to try and go for a recall, but already 10 probes going down. And now he's going to try and get in on the 3rd base, but the army of MARU not too far behind. Oh man, if MARU was kind of microing this right now, he might get a little bit more damage, but he's not really focus firing anything. Back at home, though, the 3rd base is lifted. I don't know if he really lost any SCVs with that. But yeah, this is a dicey situation for Parting. He's trying to kind of force this base trade, but in that sense, he is very far behind, and he doesn't really have an army capable of doing so. SCVs are pulled, and now the Colossus have to be juggled back. Honestly, way too good focus fire there from MARU. GG is called. And MARU will take game number 1, so we will see you guys in just a sec for game number 2. And so, for game number 2, we will be hopping in to our second map, Romanticide. So without further ado, spawning in the top corner, he is Parting. And of course, with a very convincing game number 1, he is MARU. I do think that Parting may have gotten the message with that last game. Too cheeky, just kind of going for what was really a committed cheese from him and not really being able to effectively get out of it quickly enough. Kind of cost him the game there, so he is going to have to change things up just a little bit to win this game. The problem is once you do kind of get into the later stages of the game, MARU has a really good unit comp that he uses. He's got the Vikings for the Colossus. He's got the Ghosts with the massive EMP Shockwave upgrade. So they do a lot of damage to the Protoss army as well. So really, you kind of got to find this window where MARU isn't really producing too much. And the problem with that is, in the last game, MARU did kind of go up to his 3-base production very quickly. And that's one of the things that you do have to avoid as Parting. So we'll have to see what he does decide to do in this game. So far, nothing too crazy. We obviously have to wait for the Cybernetics core to finish. And yeah. MARU back at home is just going to be throwing down what looks to be a similar build here because we still don't see the factory and we don't really see any additional tech buildings coming on out. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be throwing down that third CC here in just a second. There it goes. Now, this does leave him a little bit vulnerable to early attacks from Parting, but this hasn't really been scouted just yet. Parting does see that the reactor is on, but that's a relatively normal timing for that to happen. Back at home, again, it is Twilight Council, so maybe not the exact same thing, and in fact the Adept is going to be able to get in here and see how late the factory is. That is going to slow down MARU quite exponentially here. But if you can see the third CC, that's kind of the signal to be a little bit more aggressive. Because again, MARU doesn't have a factory. He is just pumping out pure Marines at this point. And while Marines are good, you can kite them for days with the Protoss gateway structures. And yeah, I do think that was a little bit more of a reactionary four-gate blink, but that is exactly what I am talking about for Parting here. He's just got to hit that window before any sort of splash damage comes in. And knowing MARU, he's going to start getting siege tanks as soon as that Tech Lab finishes. Alright, so MARU already getting prepared here. Again, he is getting those siege tanks, so Parting needs to hit that window where there's not really a lot of them out. I'll have to see if he can do it, as MARU also just going to get a scout out for that third base, make sure that that is not up and running. Yeah, here we go. Scan goes down, the observer is gone, so he's going to have to rely on the Warp Prism to get in and out. But, you know, there's still there's still a way in. You can kind of just kite around the bunker like he is going to do right here. And I mean, if he could get this third base, that would be fantastic damage. Instead, going to go straight for the SCV line. Good kiting so far. He doesn't want to lose these Stalkers, but if he can get Stim, then this is already worth it. Now it's just all about finding that position where he can continuously attack his target. I don't think it's too smart to dive on top of this. That'd be a very expensive trade, and instead he is just going to get out of here. And behind this, you know, I think MARU did hold that pretty well. He is going to be slowed down quite heavily with Stim being so delayed, though. So any sort of attack is going to be that much weaker. I think that's got to be one of his tells here, is that he might just decide to go with the siege tanks he has right now. But already Parting dives on top of one of them, tries to get the bunker, but he's just kind of bleeding out the Stalkers at this point, and he's not really making anything else. He's pretty much all in with this. And just trying to get a little bit of Warp Prism Micro to get on out. Loses a couple of additional Stalkers in the retreat. Unfortunately, just so many of them are weakened. And just take a look at that army size. You can kind of see where he decided to move on in. Now, he will get the bunker, which is a pretty nice pick. That's going to allow him a little bit more room to breathe. It's just the siege tanks in the back that are just doing him in right now. Perfect positioning, perfect. I mean, that's pretty much it. MARU is reading Parting like a book. Even though he does get the siege tank, he is going to sacrifice a couple of additional Stalkers here. So I'm worried for him really badly. Even if he does get that third Nexus up, we do see Stim is about to complete with +1 attack. So this is really MARU's window to move in and get some serious payback in. Now, 10 workers, good kills. We cannot deny that. Back more SCVs are being pulled. Parting still taking some damage on those Stalkers, but he's starting to fly ahead in terms of that supply. You know, he might be starting to do this slowly but surely. If he can continue to get these good engagements, he might pull himself back into it, but it's a big if because there's still a lot of Marauders here. The siege tanks still far enough back so that you can't just dive on top of them. And you do have enough mules to kind of sustain yourself as your, as your opponent starts to kind of lose that lead in terms of the upgrade. Additional gateways. This is MARU's time to strike, and he does dive right on top of this. Keep in mind, I don't think he actually has any healing right now, as his starport is not done. So that does mean every single time that he tries to defend, he is going to get weaker and weaker, and yeah, even now, losing 6 additional workers. This is getting really dicey for him. Parting, while it looked a little bit dire for him, now he is in such a fantastic position. MARU completely unable to move out of his own base. All right, now Parting just going to reinforce his army with a huge swell of zealots. Now if MARU can keep the siege tanks safe, that's going to be his best bet for the hold. But again, Parting is now just hammering him. Usually I don't like the gateway style, but Parting is really making it work just with the fact that he was able to get those pickoffs early on. It kind of looked like he traded a lot for them, but at the end of the day, it seems to be enough as the Stalker is going to dive right on top of the siege tank. The Storms blanketing the army, and MARU gets the tap out here. And by that, I mean he does tap out. Parting has tied up the series. Game number 3, here we come. And so now we move on to our new battleground, Death Aura. And the bringer of death himself spawning up here in the top position. He is Parting. And his opponent down here in the bottom is MARU. So this this SCV is going in a very strange direction right now. We do see the racks coming on down at home, so it's not going to be something like a proxy racks. If you were going to do something like that, that would probably just be hidden kind of close to the base. So with this, I'm thinking he is just going to go for a bit of an engineering bay block, try and slow Parting down in terms of the economy. But we'll have to see because, again, Parting is a very aggressive player. He prefers to be in your face. The best defense is a good offense kind of guy. And, I mean, we've seen 2 very aggressive shenanigans after he saw that MARU was going for a much more economic focus. So Parting really taking the first bit of initiative in kind of adjusting to his opponent's playstyle here. Now MARU just going to be a little bit of a cheeky sausage while he's going for factory before natural CC. Nothing too much else to say here. I mean, this has definitely done its job for the meantime. He does get that natural nexus down, but MARU just a little bit quicker in that regard. And StarCraft 2, definitely in this matchup as well, is just a game of seconds. We do see Hellions on the way. We don't see a proxy starport. We don't see a starport at all. So he's not going to be dropping these Hellions in the main base. Instead, he's just going to try and go for that run by. Unfortunately for him, Parting is going to be moving across the map, so he does see these Hellions. And that's a pretty big tell. Although Parting will get chased across the map, he is going to do as much damage as he's taking, so that is a good little bit of poking on the Hellion. We're going to go down. Yeah, from here, I think Parting just kind of wants to play it a little bit safe, get the shield batteries in his main and natural, and kind of just try and make sure that he doesn't take too much damage from these run-bys. Now, in this situation, I don't think MARU plays Bio off the back of this. I think he will be transitioning into... or I meant Mech, excuse me. I don't think he's going to be playing Mech behind this. Instead, it looks like he's going to be going for a patented Cure build, where he is just going to try and use these Hellions to get in the front while dropping Widow Mines continuously in Parting's main and natural. I mean, I like it. It's very aggressive, very difficult to deal with as the Protoss player. And honestly, it's just a nuisance. Stalkers are in position, but they're not going to be quick enough. There is no shield battery, so he is going to have to pull a couple of probes just to mitigate the damage. Already 2 Hellions have gone down. Magic number is 3. And yeah, that really didn't get a lot for MARU there. Only getting 4 probes. He's going to have to do a little bit more with this medevac to make it worth it. Oh no, Parting wasn't really paying attention, so he's going to lose a couple of probes for free. 4 probes going down overall, but he does save the Widowmine and the medevac. So that is going to help out tremendously, as Parting going to be moving across the map, trying to do exactly the same thing as last game. Very big blink timing. Give a late pull. Yeah, here we go. Gonna blink right on in, finds a little bit of a corner where he's not gonna hit by the siege tanks, but as he moves forward, he's just gonna blink right on top. And I don't know, MARU doesn't really have a lot this time. He does have that Raven, but you know, Parting is been able to get right on top of the siege tank, even using the splash to do damage to his own SCVs. So just a really good start for him here, as we see a Widowmine. I guess went in and got some additional probes. But now it really comes down to the next couple of seconds of this attack. He will get on top of the bunker and destroy it. And the siege tanks not really in a big enough number, so he is going to have to move them around in order to defend. Unfortunately, he does unsiege there, so they will start to go down. But this time, oh no, Parting losing a lot more of his Stalker count for those trades. Now keep in mind as well, there's no stim with this. Oh. So he is just going to have to defend with slow bio. SCVs are pulled once again. It's starting to look a little bit like the last game with that little bit of a snowball effect. We will have to see here as he tries to blink right on top. Good micro right there. Going to save that siege tank. Now Parting still getting some amazing work done. He's still a little bit behind in terms of that army count. Take a look at that. As for the income, again, he is stuck on 2 bases, as is MARU. So yeah, that's kind of the issue with the attack now. The fact that MARU didn't go for that 3rd base does mean that he has more units, and he's been able to pump them out a lot quicker than his 3cc build. You know, from here, Parting's going to do the same. We should be seeing Storm start up as soon as that Templar Archives finishes. And yeah, Scan going to go down, revealing that there is indeed no 3rd base. So now MARU feels a little bit more comfortable being on 2 bases. Stalker's going to find a little bit of an angle once again. They will get on out of there. At this point, you know, I'd say just make a Viking, get rid of the Warp Prism. At least force a recall. But yeah, MARU is starting to look like the brick wall that he usually can be in these situations. Not even really going to let the Warp Prism land anymore. And Parting as well got a little bit supply block there. I'm wondering where he lost the pylon. It does not matter as MARU looks to be kind of ready to adventure outside his own base. He has to be a little bit careful with this, but at the same time, you do kind of want to get out of this very closed system, because if you don't, the storms are just going to wreak havoc on your bio. Now we do see MARU going to be moving on out. Stim is complete. He has a +1, and the armor is on the way as well. And yeah, here we go. Now it's MARU's turn to try and get some additional damage done. Just kind of looking at the production tab here, we can kind of see the priorities of these players. Parting, kind of having some trouble syncing up his warp gates, so he's not really able to warp in too efficiently. He's not even fully mining on his third base just yet, although, I mean, in that sense, neither is MARU. But I'm just really worried about any further attacks from Parting. As time goes on, this very heavy gateway style starts to taper off in effectiveness, and as MARU starts to get a couple more of his tools in effect, then it just becomes a dicier situation. Now the Zealots are going to try and get on top of the siege tanks, but they will not be able to. Small High Templar Storm, but MARU is just going to weather them, it looks like. The siege tanks just doing way too much, tanking way too much of the damage. And Parting gets absolutely ransacked right there, dropped like a bug. Again, that's the problem with the gateway style. Even with storms, there was just too much tearing. That does mean MARU gets the win. We'll be moving on to game number 4 with a MARU match point. Stick around. And so this man may be on his last leg in this series, but he is certainly not out. Give it up for our blue Protoss phenomenon. He is Parting. And over here in the top position, he's trying to close it out with a proxy. Rax heading on across the map. He is MARU. Back to your old tricks, I see, MARU, you cheeky boy. If you guys don't remember, a couple of years ago, MARU was the proxy king. He would always proxy his first couple of buildings, and it really did work out pretty well for him. He was always able to get those kind of free wins in the situations where it matters, and in the event that it didn't work, he did have that solid macro to kind of fall back on. So it's not like the North American server where, you know, once you have the cheese, you pretty much lose your crackers. He's got the crackers, and he's got a whole smorgasbord of things to go with them off the back of it. Now, Parting did kind of notice, I believe, the little bit of a position that came from that SCV, but heck with that, because we are going to be seeing a very fun build. I believe it was Florencio who made this style popular, but basically what is going to happen is he's going to force a recall with a couple of additional Zealots and probes in order to just fight straight in MARU's main base. Now, MARU, to his credit, is playing this remarkably calm. He's already seen it. And from here, it's pretty much just a micro battle. Yeah, look at that. Just going to throw down the bunker at home. If you can hold this, you can hold pretty much anything, because remember, he doesn't even have his racks at home. It's kind of just sitting there near Parting's base, pumping out Reapers, which is not really what you want to defend against this. You need Hellions, you need Widowmines, you just need some sort of damage dealer. Yeah, this is pretty much an all-in play from Parting right here. If it doesn't work, he is going to have to tap out. I'm going to try and delay the starport for as long as possible, but there's just not really that much that 2 Adepts and a Hellion can do versus 2 Reapers and a Hellion. I think I meant to say Zealot instead of Hellion for Parting, but I digress. Reaper's just going to town. It's kind of payback for every time they've tried to jump into an opponent's base and were denied. So now, with almost no defense, Parting is in a world of trouble right now. That being said, MARU is just going to come home. See, this is the kind of problem here. There's not really a lot of DPS with this army, so that is just going to take a very long time to deal with. MARU, on the other hand, does get a full scout, sees that it's Blink once again. Now, 3 CC. Good a lot of the time. But versus this kind of reactionary Blink out of Parting, you do have to be a little bit worried for MARU, although I do think the bunker is kind of slowing things down. And the fact that we don't actually have a robo facility either. There's not going to be any warp prisms with this. Looks like he is just going to try and drop a pylon on the other side of the map in order to make this work. That's a very vulnerable position. Reaper's just going to be looking for a fight as well. We'll just kind of back up, recharge some of that energy and their health, and then be right back to the fight, good as new. Yeah. Crazy start. And this craziness has no end anymore. Both sides are kind of just making it up as they go along. And that's kind of the funnest StarCraft 2 there is. Yeah, here we go. Parting going to be moving out for the first time. He does have that gateway morphed in across the map. Actually, scratch that. It's just a pylon, so it's going to be slow warp-ins. That makes it even worse for him here because there is plenty of splash to counteract this. Oh boy, here we go. Siege tank not in a position just yet. There starts to get the shots off. So the Raven does expend its energy getting the missile turret down. But yeah, from here, it's pretty much, can he get into the main base and get the damage done that he needs to? Siege tank is not sieged up, so he's just going to dive right on top of that. There's just not that much production here from MARU, but it might just be enough as the SCVs are pulled. Parting will have to retreat for the meantime. And there are still 2 siege tanks on the high ground. Well, one on the high ground, one on the low ground. Looks like he's barely going to get the bunker as well. He took way too many additional shots off for that to work out for him. Now he's kind of just circling like a shark, just looking for that opening where he can just do what he needs to do. But Stim just completed. The siege tanks get the shots off that they need once again. And although he gets the siege tank, there is still more than enough buyout. Unfortunately, again, once Stim completes, there's just not much that you can do with pure Blink Stalker. All right, tries to find an opening, but he is going to spend a lot of stalkers to... That was a sacrifice not worth taking, and now his position... Like, I hate keep saying that his position is getting weaker by the moment, but if he can hold on for just a little bit longer, keep these stalkers as a kind of hit squad across the map, then he is going to be able to get this third base up. He's going to start to outproduce a little bit because MARU, while he has that third base, it's not mining at all at this time. All right. So this game is shaping up. It is kind of stabilized from this point forward. I don't know how you can get two wacky openings and one normal game off the back of it, but Scan going to go down. MARU just looking at everything that's going on. I guess he feels pretty confident in his position with these couple of scans. He does see that it is Ghosts, or excuse me, Templars once again. And from here, feels like he could just move out, but Parting going to take that opportunity. 11 worker kills. Beautiful play right there. All right, here we go. MARU with his first big attack of the day. There's not really any storm energy left with this army, so he just has to morph in the Archons. Finds a good position on the ramp, shuts down the Warpism, so there will be no micro. Widow Mines cleaning up the Zealot count. And although the siege tanks are gone, there is just too much bio. Parting, dropping below 90 supply. One last ditch effort to warp in. Try and save this game. Although MARU is being forced back right now, I don't really think there's enough of a buffer. The parade is coming across the map, and we might just be seeing MARU finish out this series with a win as the last Zealot falls. Yeah, that is the painful shot that I was expecting. Yeah, there you have it. MARU taking game number 4. He takes the series and he moves on in our TSL coverage. So thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want to see more amazing StarCraft 2 events, make sure you hit like, favorite, and subscribe. And we will see you guys at the next big event. Peace.